All right. Let me know when you go there then. You there? Okay. We give Yahuwah the highest praise again this morning for what he have done and what he is doing in us and the things that he is showing us and what he is waking us up to. Just want to say Shabbat and Shalom to all that is out there, all of those that may be listening right now or will come to listen later. Want to deal with a topic this morning concerning, like I told our assembly here, kind of a controversial topic, but nevertheless, let's just see. And I'm not saying that I am completely right in what I'm about to say. It's just something to begin to analyze and to begin to think on, because all down through the years we have received wrong information about who we are and who the Father is and even what Hamashiach is and all that kind of stuff. But the Father is waking us up this day, and I often say every chance I get to Yasharel is more to the awakening than what we think, than what we perceive. It's good to awaken to our Father's name and who He really is, and it's good to awaken unto who you are. But you have to look at all the things that you have learned, the false things. I mean, everything that's been done to you. So the trauma on the inside. So that's a lot more to awaken to than just knowing His name, which is far more important, because that's the name that you can call on for salvation. Y'all hear me what I'm saying? Or for, like the Hebrew said, for Yashi, meaning salvation. And so we need to know those things, but there's a lot more that we need to wake up to. We really need to wake up to His Kadashness, how holy He is. We need to wake up to that He is the set apart one. He has set apart His children, to worship Him. We are His inheritance. You need to wake up to that. We are His inheritance, and He has given us, His laws and His statutes and His commandments. And even though we're in the land of our captivity, you are still to make an effort to keep those laws and statutes and commandments. Even although you might not be able to do them just the way that we supposed to do them if we was in our land already. To give you an example of that, no one can just up. You got 2 or 3 children running around the house, and no one can just up and quit their job because they're working on the Sabbath. You're in the land of your captivity. And hard as it is and how expensive everything is around here, you just can't quit your job that pay you $32 an hour, and it call for you working on the Sabbath to go and get a job that don't call for you working on the Sabbath that pays you $12 an hour. You have to have some understanding, and the Father know that we're in the land of our captivity. Now, when we're in the land when we go into our land that He has promised us, the promised land, this is the way it would be. Your job that pays you $32 an hour gonna shut down on Sabbath, so you can keep your job. You understand me? Because all the land shall be Kodesh. So you can't really listen to people that have a constant stream of income, whether they're working or they're not, to tell you to up and quit your job, because you're having to work on the Saturday. That's what this Babylonian system demands, and that is the system that the Most High has sent us into for punishment. Are y'all following me? So you can't get past those things. Now, of course, if you do come into something that would cause you to no longer have to work on the Sabbath, or you can make more money or less money, that's still your choice. But don't be forced by someone that is, I should say, that is an extremist. Are y'all following me? Because you're in the land of your captivity, and there are certain things that you cannot, certain parts of the law that the Most High have given us, you cannot obey it in another land. You see what I mean? The laws that the United States have won't work in England, won't work in Britain. So you can't go to Britain, move to Great Britain, and trying to obey United States laws. Or is this making any sense? This is not what I'm talking about today, but this thing needs to be kind of settled a little bit because some of our people, not knowingly probably, become extremists and try to have convictions on others. There are certain things that we just cannot do in the land of our captivity concerning the Most High's commandments and laws. I don't know. I'm not telling you to not put forth an effort. It just cannot be done. Then on top of that, we're being ruled by the Edomite system. Are y'all following me? And the Edomite don't give a hot care about Yahuwah's ways and laws. Cannot. Are y'all following me now? So, anyone that is teaching this stuff and, well, if you're working on the Sabbath and you need to quit your job and this person got 3, 4, 5 children, no. I'm not gonna put you in that kind of predicament because the Most High is not, because we are here for punishment. We're not here for protest, like we have done in the past. We're not here for that. We're here for punishment. And that thing is coming to an end more rapidly now that I see. So, we give him praise for what he's doing among us and among his people. It's almost over, Yasharel. Come on, can anybody say hallelujah to that? It's almost over. Because I be talking to the Most High. I be, come and get us. We're tired now. We come and get us. But he knows the proper time and all of this kind of stuff. But we're going to deal a little bit with Jacob's troubles and stuff, because people say that, and that is the title of this message, or something to that effect, Jacob's troubles, ? Because a lot of people teach and understand, that Jacob's trouble, especially the heathen teachers like this, the Jacob's trouble is supposed to come before Hamashiach come and get us. Like we ain't been in trouble for 2,000-3,000 years. We've been in trouble ever since 70 A.D. You hear me? All of them. We've been in trouble all these long, but you want to teach. I'm just telling you to rethink the thing. Look at the scriptures, especially in Zechariah 13 in verse 8. Look at the scriptures in its context when it talks about 2/3 won't make it. Read it in its context, because I don't believe. Now, again, I stand to be corrected. I really do stand to be corrected, because I don't believe that when Hamashiach during the gathering, 2/3 of us that's talking about 2/3 of us are not going to make it in. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. 2/3 are not going to make it in. And I'm going to read the scriptures in a minute. And perish. Perish just means to die or whatever. We've been dying all along. We've been being slaughtered all along. Go all the way back to 70 A.D. And the other captivities this has been happening to us all along. Many of us have perished. And especially, I really do feel, I want to keep saying, I stand to be corrected, though. I do. Because I don't have it all figured out, but I just see it another way. I just see it another way. Because in 70 A.D., a lot of our folk perished. Y'all hear me? A lot of our folk perished. And could it be talking about that particular time that 2/3 of us wasn't going to make it? I'm talking about some Jacob's trouble. Jacob been in trouble for thousands of years. Been going through troubles, been experiencing troubles. Is this hidden anywhere? Let it hit you. Okay, so the first scripture that I'm going to read, I'm going to go up. I'm going to read Zechariah. And first, I'm going to start with not the 13th chapter, but with the 12th chapter. Some things going on here, and it seems like the prophet is going back and forth, talking about that time. Then it's like he'll change something, and he'll talk about that time, even though he's saying in that day. But you have to understand, The scriptures are not written in chronological order. So you have to rightly divide when it comes down to this word. And guess what we got to rightly divide through? We got to rightly divide through what the heathen then inserted and what the heathen then taken out away. So you got to rethink this here thing, because talking about 2/3 of us ain't going to make it when we begin to be gathered. I just don't believe that. There's a lot of us ain't done made it. But now the scriptures even say in Romans and different places too that and all of Israel or Yasharel shall be saved. It even talks about in Revelations that when he come and the woman have to go to the wilderness and all that kind of stuff, and then the dragon is going to be so upset that he's going to go back and try to get her seed or the rest of Yasharel. Some of us might not go in that first wilderness experience, because we do have to be taught some things, because we have become just like the other nations that Deuteronomy 28 talk about. So we need to be purged a little bit more. So he'll go back and get them after they see that America and the lands and the nations that is around is going down. So then, it takes a little bit more to convince some than others. That's life. That's life, Sister Lily. That's just life. So it takes a little bit more. Everyone is not convinced of the same thing. At the same time, why? One of the reasons is because Yasharel is a stiff-necked people. We are hard-headed people. Sometimes you just can't get through to us. We refuse. I experienced this here a lot of times, even with family members. Letting alone sometimes you just can't get through. And what do you do when you can't get through? What do? You turn and you walk away. But Yahuwah is not going to do that, because he made Abraham a promise. If you don't go this time, then he going to turn. He said, I'm going to even open your graves and get you. I should have wrote that scripture down. I can't remember where it's at right now, but I can show it to you. He said, I'm even going to open your graves and get you. But we've been in punishment for a while. You understand me what I'm saying? We've been in trouble for a while, for thousands of years. So you just can't come and tell me that, okay, at the gathering 2/3 ain't gonna make it. You know how many of us been killed? You know how many of us been killed in slavery? You know how many of us been taken from our homeland and tossed in the sea before they brought us to the place where they was bringing us? I think I read it was something like, if I'm not mistaken, I might not need to say a number because I'm not remembering. That was millions of us didn't even make it to the lands of our captivities. Was killed along the way. And for you to say 2/3, do you know? Only Yahuwah knows the number of us that was coming out of when that tragic would begin to happen in 70 AD. For him to say 2/3. Let's just read the scriptures. Now, I'm going to start with Zechariah 12, and I'm just going to read. But you're going to see how things begin to change even in the next chapter, because if you just read this just like it is, you won't get the context of it, and you will think that everything is in the order that it's saying. But no, the prophet is just like he is switching. He'll talk about this, then he'll go to that, then he'll step over here and talk about that. But to our mind, if we don't discern, we'll think we'll just compile it all together and think it's talking about one thing or one time or one event. But it's not. Okay, it says that the burden of the word of Yahuwah for Yasharel, saith Yahuwah, that stretches out the sky. I'm going to tell you a little bit about himself, because he's all powerful. that stretches out the sky. This is the one that's talking to you, the one that can stretch out the sky, laid the foundations of the earth, and form the spirit or ruach of man within him. Because I will make Jerusalem as a trembling doorpost to all nations round about. And in Judea there shall be a siege against Jerusalem. A siege. See, the heathen try to make us think that, okay, the Ish folk over there, they try to make us think that, that all the nations is against them because they are Yahuwah's people. Whose people they are, like I've said before and I said again, whose people they are is Jesus Christ's people or God's people. That's who people they are. But they are not Yahusha people. Are y'all following me? Boy, I tell you, Christians, when I mention stuff like that, Christians be just like this right here. Christians, because their understanding is not there. You know what I'm saying? What is there that making them bite on their nails when I mention God in the wrong sense than what they've been taught? What is there is indoctrination. Are you following me? Not sound doctrine, which we teach, but indoctrination. And many of especially the black Christians, want to be that way or have been made that way because we want to assimilate. Are y'all following me? Nobody's following me. I don't think y'all hear me. They want to assimilate. Why? Because we have never had an identity, Ethan. So I can identify with Ethan. Oh, I love the Lord Jesus Christ, and he heard my cry. Because I want to identify with Ethan. Are y'all following me? This is most of our problems today. The reason why we will not turn against Christianity because Yahusha HaMashiach, who you call Jesus, didn't bring a religion. He did not bring a religion. And we can't get that for nothing. I know some high-class black folk. And they won't turn loose Christianity for nothing. Why? Because a lot of white folk are high class, and that's who they want to assimilate with. You got to begin to check your motives, though you will not be in the first gathering. You see, a lot of people think that the gathering is just going to be one. The gathering of Yasharel is just going to be one event. It's hot in here. The gathering of Israel is just going to be one event, and we all going. Do you know how many it is of us? It will take a year for everyone to be gathered. Ain't nobody going to move at the same time. They don't have enough airplanes and boats to get you back where the Most High is trying to bring you. That gathering, but then somebody will come talking ignorantly. Well, it's going to be in one day. That's talking about the fall of Babylon. After you have gotten out. But this gathering is going to take a lot of days because there's a lot of Yasharel. A lot. Have you ever seen, well, I don't even have to go there. We got to come into some understanding here, some sense here, you see. But let me just finish reading. It says, behold, I will make Jerusalem as a trembling doorpost to all the nations round about, and in Judea there shall be a siege against Jerusalem. Now, I really do feel like this is 70 AD, a siege. You understand me? That's what he's dealing with right now. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will make Jerusalem a trodden stone to all the nations. Now, look. Okay, let me just keep reading. Everyone that tramples on it shall utterly mock it, and all the nations of the earth shall be gathered together against it. That which have been shall be again. There's nothing new happening under the sun. But a lot of people teach this like this is going to be the last days. that this is happening to Jerusalem. It's always happening to them. Why do you think Africa split up? Why do you think the continent is split up into 54 states? This has been happening to Jacob all along. All along. A siege. Everyone against that Kadesh place. All right, let's keep talking. Let's keep reading. In that day, says Yahuwah Almighty, I will smite every horse with amazement and his rider with madness, but I will open my eyes unto the house of Yehudah, and I will smite all the horses of the nations with blindness. Now he have left 70 AD. Now he's dealing with the end of the great war. Are y'all following me now? See, the prophets prophesied, and I think it was Yahuwah's will. A lot, they prophesied all over the place. They didn't even understand the prophecies in which they was doing. They didn't even understand them. Now he didn't click to the end of this age, because talking about the war of Armageddon and all that. Where Revelations talks about the blood is going to be that's going to be shed. It's going to be up to a horse's bridle. Are y'all following me? He didn't jump to that now. And this is why we can't discern what he's talking about dealing with the 2/3, because now we think that's dealing with the end. But think of the many of Israel been slain. Talk about Jacob's trouble. We've been in trouble ever since we began to disobey Yahuwah. Jacob's been going through troubles. Look at our people on the continent. Our people go through trouble. Look at us here. We have only in the last maybe 50, 60 years come to be the little bit that we have now. And there are still places here for Jacob. If the sun go down, you better not go there. If truth be told. Now, when were we not in trouble? Tell me that. When were we not in trouble? There's places today that if the sun go down, you better not be caught driving through that. You think that's a good time? No, that's trouble. A time of Jacob's trouble. You better say, because remember, the heathen had our book, and they changed what they wanted to change. You better add an S to them troubles. To them times. Talking about a time of Jacob's trouble. Now, a times for Jacob's trouble. Because we've been having them all along, Sister Lily. Are y'all following me? That's what I'm saying. Still having them. Still having them. Look. If you're not going to treat me right, and I want you to know you wasn't put in the land of your captivity to be treated right. You need to wake up that you was put in the lands of your captivity to be punished for disobedience. I don't know how we think. What Israel from Jacob to Naphtali, what we're experiencing now is punishment. Why can't we understand that? Why can't we get that? But Yahuwah said, I will smite every horse with amazement and his rider with madness, but I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah, and I will smite all the horses of the nations with blindness. It's talking about when he's going to bring Judah or Yahuwah to Yehudah to his promised place. There's a lot of stuff got to be done before we come to our promised place. You just can't be just gathered. No, he got to put down the enemy everywhere. There's a lot of things that Yahuwah will have to do in order to secure his people. And he's not going to do it the way you want him to do it. Well, can't he just snap his finger? I can hear Christians now. Can't he just snap his finger? Because God can do anything. God can't. But Yahuwah can. And if Yahuwah don't choose to just snap his finger and just do it his way, then that's Yahuwah. But we think that he's supposed to move how according to how we think, our thoughts. And that stuff comes from not knowing him. Are you feeling me? And it's all right to, you'll have some thoughts. Don't mean that you don't know him, because I was telling my son in Africa, I was telling him the other day, I said, man, wouldn't it be good? Because the next resources that we send in, we'll have that balance down to, what we're doing in Africa. We'll have it down to like 7,000. They're at 8,050 now. When I sent this other bin, well, we're going to send another little batch, maybe another couple of weeks, and we'll have it down to like 7,000, maybe 690 something. You know what I mean? 6,900, something like that. And I honestly, if donations don't come, I honestly don't know. I haven't known where it was going to come from anyway. But by the grace of Yahuwah, it's been coming. You know what I mean? And I told him, I said, man, wouldn't it be, and just like I told you, the congregation, they, people are similar. He's talking, he's discipling, they're discipling over there and stuff, and he's just going at the pace that Yahuwah wanted to go. But here come my thought. I said, won't it be good if Yahuwah bring you across a millionaire and you start teaching him about who Yahuwah is, and he just dropped that whole balance on this work? That's how we think. Yeah, he can, but I think Yahuwah wants us to exercise faith and believe in him all the way out. Because if he send that person, I ain't got to believe no more. Is anybody hearing me? And he always wants us to believe him. And we don't understand how that thing works. And I told him, I said, if he was that, it'll be off my mind. I can get it off my head. When it ain't supposed to be on my head, it's supposed to be on his. You see how we are? I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. We come up with our own thoughts, and then when it don't happen that way, here we are down. Like we order him. Yahuwah said, what man counsels me? But we think we can. Why? Because we are little haughty human beings. And if things don't go our way, then we got problems. But we never call it our way. You see what I mean? But that's what it be. It just be our way. Things ain't going to work. It ain't going to go your way. It ain't going to go your way. I got problem. And if I'm looking for everything to go my way and I got problem when it don't, then I'm entertaining another spirit, and he is not the Ruach HaKodesh. I'm telling you. We got to think sometime. But boy, I left this angle. Let me get back to this. Because I be having to take my belt off sometime and just whip y'all. Those are children. So that's what happens sometimes. But let me get back to this. Verse 5 says in chapter 12, it says, and the captains of thousands of Yehudah shall say in their hearts, we shall find for ourselves the inhabitants of Jerusalem in Yahuwah Almighty their allure. And in that day I will make the captains of thousands of Yahuwah as a firebrand among wood, and as a torch of fire in stubble, and they shall devour on the right hand and on the left all the nations round about. And Jerusalem shall dwell again by herself, even in Jerusalem. Right? And you see what I see right here? Now the prophet then jumped to telling you, yeah, Yahuwah said, I'm going to use you too, Judah, because you've been afflicted the most. And the reason why we've been afflicted the most, babe, is because after seeing what the northern kingdom did and what happened to them in their disobedience, we should have known better to disobey him. We should have known better to turn to idolatry. We should have known better to offer our children to Moloch. And that's what we do now when we abort them. You just offer them to the god of Moloch. I'm not referring to the God of Moloch, like if there's a God, the creator of all things. He's not God. He's a lure. And we are not to group him in with the false mighty ones, they say. But that's what we do even to this day. Even to this day. We're still offering these to these false idols. And I believe when the Bible says that he's going to remove all these false idols out of the land, I feel that he's talking about our hearts. Because these things are still in our hearts. And then we talking about, I'm ready for the gathering. I'm ready for the gathering. We're still crooked in our hearts. We still don't walk straight in our hearts. We still pretend like we understand and got it all together and I'm going with you and I'm following, knowing that you got other motives, knowing that you have other feelings. And I'm not telling you to follow me nowhere. You got to follow him. And if I'm leading you to him, that's where you need to go. And stop acting like you're not. Stop acting like you are when you know that you're not fully persuaded in your heart. And see, and I have to be careful too. Just like Paul said, after I've led others, I got to be careful or I won't be a castaway. You see. Oh, Father. And there's so much that we have to be awakened to. And I just don't go with this 2/3 deal, not making it in at the end. When we've been getting slaughtered all along. You've been getting slaughtered, destroyed, perishing all alone. Say again? Of course. 2/3 is still being added. You don't tell me that now Yahuwah said it's all over. I'm going to get my children. And then going to leave 2/3 of us. We're ignorant because of what we've been taught. We've been doing wrong because we've been influenced by the Gentiles. And you think I don't think that we got that kind of a father. We've been being killed. We've been being slaughtered. That's part of the punishment. Because he told us those things was going to happen to us. But he also said, I'm going to open your graves. Now, of course, still a lot of Yahudi is not going to make it. Because we do still have a will. I don't want to go. I want to go to church. Are y'all following me? I don't believe. I know the truth. Jesus Christ set me free. See all these black folk gathering up and some Gentiles with us. Yeah. Gentiles with us, but a lot of us, I don't want to go. I'm going to church. Are y'all following me? That'd be our choice if we don't make it. And I believe that a lot of us are not going to make it, but it sure ain't going to be no 2/3 of us not going to make it. You hear me? Let me get on down. Because there's a lot of scriptures that I have, but well, I'm at verse 6, verse 7. It says, and Yahuwah shall save the tabernacles of Judah as at the beginning, and the boast of the house of David, and the pride of the inhabitants of Jerusalem. You know what he's dealing with now? He's dealing with a prophecy that he made way back then, and it's happening now. Why you don't see it now happening? Why you can't? Because it's happening on the continent. Right now. I mean, just keep reading. It's happening on the continent right now. It says, let me go again. It says, and Yahuwah shall save the tabernacles of Yehudah as at the beginning, that the boast of the house of David or David and the pride of the inhabitants of Jerusalem, because Jerusalem got some pride. This dealing with the 10, the northern. You understand me what I'm saying? It says, may not magnify themselves against Yahuwah, against Yehudah, against Judah. This dealing with the northern kingdom, Ephraim, magnifying themselves because there's some, what you call it today? People are not getting along. There's something between them. What you call that? There's a word that they call it. Huh? I don't want to be fancy with animosity, but we call it something else in the street. Some beef. Beef. See, because Judah and Ephraim got some beef right now. Ephraim want to exalt themselves, the 10, above Yehuda, but you got to understand, Yehuda then called Judah to lead. See, that's when he promised to David. David and his son Solomon was the only two kings of Israel that I'm thinking of that governed the whole 12 tribes. Until Solomon messed up. And then when his son took the throne, Rehoboam, I think that's his name, or Jehoram, whatever them boys, that's when the Most High split it because of what Solomon had done. The northern kingdom went off, and it was just Judah, Benjamin, and parts of Levi stayed, which represented the house of Yahuwah. You understand me what I'm saying? And so these had this beef all along. I read to you last week, I believe, how Ephraim got up another king in other nations to go and attack Yehuda. But in Isaiah, when I was telling you about the virgin birth, I ain't talking about no Hamashiach, who you call Jesus. Are y'all following me? When I say y'all, that's just me saying that. And so I ain't putting pressures up on you, but that's just what I do. And then the heathen took that and talking about a virgin birth. When Yahuwah was giving Isaiah a sign for King Ahaz, this is the sign that Ephraim ain't going to accomplish what they set out to do with these other nations to you, Yehuda. They ain't going to accomplish. Your wife going to have a child. And Isaiah's wife was a virgin. Remember when I told y'all there's two different kind of virgins? There's two different kind of virgins. Somebody ain't hearing me. you see, you just... But now they done took that and talking about Mary was a virgin and Joseph is not Yahusha Hamashiach's father. When Yahusha Hamashiach marched around everywhere, called himself the son of man. I'm the son of man. I'm the son of man. I'm the son of David. Why can't we put it together? Because we have allowed the heathens to influence us so immensely, we can't even think for ourselves. So, who is lying? Here's a Mashiach lying by claiming Joseph, his father, because he said, I'm the son of a man. And the scriptures tells us that Yahuwah says, I'm not a man that I should lie. Are y'all following me? You see how simple it is. Yahuwah said, I'm not a man that I can lie. Neither the son of man that I have to repent. But here Yahusha is saying, I'm the son of man. I'm the son of man. I'm the son of David. And we still want to claim that Mary didn't have no sex and got Yahusha. I'm almost upset because you can't teach a lot of black folk nothing. And we can get the line to you all day and you'll believe it. We're just used to lies. Let me pull this hat off my head. I'm hot and I'm getting upset because I get tired of ignorance, willful ignorance. Now, we used to lies. That's what the white man did to us all our days. Lie, lie, lie. But now you see Yahusha raising up the true prophets, because I'm going to deal with the prophets too, in here, dealing with the true prophets, and you don't want to believe them. Our scriptures been manipulated. I'll tell you another thing. Scripture's been manipulated. They tell us in the King James about Moses when he rose up and killed the Egyptian. And he rose up and killed the Egyptian. And it says and then he had to leave Egypt. It said Moses was 40 years old when he left Egypt. This is the reason they don't want you reading the book of Enoch. They don't want you reading the book of Jubilees, and they don't want you reading the book of Jasher, because Jasher said Moses was 18 years old when he did that, when he killed that Egyptian. And then the King James don't even go into detail why he killed that Egyptian, or why that Egyptian was messing with his brother, that Yahusha. That Egyptian was going into this Yahusha's house and took his wife and had sex with her right before him. And what do they do that at? It ain't never stopped happening. You hear me? Jasher tell you about it all, but they don't want you reading the book of Jasher. Only the truth will make you free. You hear me? They don't tell you that Moses was king of Ethiopia for 40 years. The King James don't. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you, because Hamarshak told us, Yahuwah told us, don't marry the other nations. You got me what I'm saying? And Ethiopia is another nation, and they gave Moses a lady of the other nations when he was king there. They don't tell you that in the King James, but they also don't tell you he was married to her for a bunch of years, and they told, but they don't tell us that Moses never slept with her. She was upset about that because Moses stuck to the law. He stuck to the law. And then when they mentioned the Midianite woman that he married, that Aaron and Miriam was against, Joshua said, when he even brought her there, when that lady came there and the kids, and I'm paraphrasing. Aaron come to say, who is that? Who is that? That's my wife and my kid. And Aaron said, send her away. She's of another nation. Can you imagine Aaron looking at his brother Moses? What's up with that? What's up with that? That's my wife and my kid and my children. And the book said, Aaron said, send them away. You know what Moses did? He sent them away. If you don't have somebody to hold you to the truth, that you will be you could be accountable to, and few of us want that, you'll just go astray and you will end up in hell fire. Because you don't want to be held accountable. You don't want to be told nothing. Somebody tell you something, then you'll turn around. Well, you did this. Well, you might want to go on. Might want to go on and let them go to hell. I'm telling you what the book says. I don't care how you feel about it. Aaron says, send that heifer away. She ain't of our people. This is why Miriam and Aaron were so upset. They still shouldn't have turned on Aaron. But I'm not even sure, because they lied so much. The heathen took our book and lied so much, I got to look deeper into it. I ain't even so sure that the Most High struggled with leprosy. They put that in there just to make you think. Because Zipporah was of another nation. Moses had Gomer, through her, his kids, his children. And Aaron said, send them away. What's up with that? Don't be coming up into the camp capping. This is what the book says. So they don't want you reading Jasher. So they'll tell you that ain't a part of scripture and this and that and those books. Liar, pants on fire, these Gentiles, Amalek. Liar, pants on fire. But we don't want to believe that, black Christian. Black Christians don't want to believe that. You think that brother down there, Brother Page, and got off. No, Brother Page and got on. And you can't tell off or on because you're in the wrong thing. You have yet to be enlightened by the Most High. He's the one that gives light, not the Illuminati. See, Illuminati give you darkness, which they call light, and that's reading how Marshall said, if the light that's in you be darkness, then how great is that darkness? If the light in you, or you think you got understanding, that is nothing but darkness. So he said, how great is that darkness? The scriptures, man. Let me finish reading this. Verse 8, right? It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And the weak one among them in that day shall be as David, and the house of David as the house of YAHUAH. Gonna be glorious. Now he's talking about an end day now. See, he didn't switch from 70 AD, and we just think, the only reason why I'm reading verse chapter 12 is to lay foundation and put it into context here, to let you know about we're not being taught right about the 2/3, not making it in. We're not being taught right. The house of Yahuwah and the angel of Yahuwah before them. This is how Judah gonna be. Are y'all feeling me? Judah is the house of David, right? This is how Judah gonna be. He's telling you how we're gonna be in the end now. To the nations, man, we're gonna be just like we are YAHUAH himself. Well, listen to them Christians. What you mean? You ain't God. I ain't. I am not God. But YAHUAH tell me, when he put his kabod up on us, we're going to be just like, our house is going to be just like his. Why can't we get that? Christians are the most offended people because they think they got truth. And even a lot of us that's coming out of Christianity that have awakened to a little bit, we're still offended too. Because we ain't awakened to everything that we need to awaken to. See, and I find some in the awakening concerning Yasharel, but more so I find this among the Gentiles that are wakening up too. You know, I find this that they just learn, but never in their heart knitted. Are y'all following me? There's a lot of it in Yasharel, the true Yasharel, but I see a lot of it also with the Gentile. Because I'm dealing with a white fella now. I just found it. Man, you act like you don't get it. They think just doing promotes them. But doing don't give you the power or the anointing. You see? And knowing. See, when the scripture says, when you shall know the truth, and that truth shall make you free. If you look up that word know, it means intimacy. It means intimacy. You have relation with Yahuwah, Yahusha. You see, your heart is knitted. Not your doing, and your learning. It's good to learn, but it also says that silly women ever learning, but never knowing the truth. Relationship. And you see, and a lot of reasons why many of us don't have a relationship in Yasharel, more in among Gentiles, is because when you're intimate with someone, you open yourself up to them. And many of us don't want to open ourselves up to Yahuwah because we don't want him to see all that dirt and grime because we use that for power against each other. So I ain't willing to give that up. So I ain't willing to open myself up to you, Yahusha. I'm not willing to open myself up to you, Ruach HaKodesh, because there's some dirty stuff in me, and I want to keep it that way. Now, I say with my mouth that I don't want it, but in my heart I know I want it because it gives me power over people. Anybody hearing me? I love manipulating people because it gives me benefit. Are y'all following me now? I love lying to people because then they depend on me It gives me power to keep my distance. So it's impossible for me to become intimate with something that is holy that will bring light, and the light the darkness can't even comprehend the light. Are y'all following me? Darkness can't dwell in light. So I say Yahuwah, I say Yahusha, while I still got my doors closed and my curtain pulled on my heart. Is anybody hearing me today? So you're going to have to deal with yourself. You can't come confessing to Yahuwah that I want to be Kadosh and I want to be right when you ain't even made your mind up in yourself to get rid of you. I'm telling you, man, this awakening is a whole lot deeper than what you think. Shoot. Some of us are out in the open, Yahuwah, Yahusha, out in the opening, saying this here, but we are concealing ourselves when it comes down to our sins. Are y'all hear me? See, that's a lot of voice that you hear, but you don't see it. You don't see me. So I'm saying Yahusha, I'm saying Yahuwah, but you don't see me what I'm doing in the dark. Father, help us. Father, help us. I pray for it every day. Well, not every day, but a lot of days. Father, help me. Because I know it's still junk in here. It's still junk in here. There's still unholy, unkodesh desires in here, because this is flesh. It's still here. I know I love you, though, but my Father, you're going to have to help me in my flesh. Help me in my flesh. And a lot of us will not become fully awakened until we come to that crossroads with ourselves. Are y'all following me? This is why we can continue to say, Yahuwah, Yahusha, but never really being intimate with him. Because the truth will make you free. Being intimate with the truth. And Yahuwah is the truth, Deborah. And it will make us free. I'm telling you, man. I see this among the Yahudim, but I see it even more with Gentiles. I'm back and forth online too, you know. That's reading the Gentile. Love to elaborate on his name, and go into deep little teachings and all that kind of stuff. But the heart ain't been given yet. Because I think I've allowed the God that I used to serve, we've allowed the God that we used to serve to convince us and to convince us as much as I know I'm more justified. Not knowing that Yahusha said that if you don't do that which you know, you're going to receive more torments in hell. So you can know a lot, but your heart is not knitted, so you're going to be tormented even more to a higher degree than that one that's in hell with you that didn't know. So you better stop letting your God fool you. Because God is fooling and tricking some people. God is. But Yahuwah is laying it out there. He ain't hiding it. He's not hiding anything. Yahuwah ain't, but God is. Boy, them Christians, he just got off. He's blaspheming. Blaspheming your God, which is Satan, Gadriel. And they won't read the books you tell them. So that's what Hosea 4 and 6 talking about. You're ignorant because you want to be. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. And so why do you have a lack of knowledge? Why do you don't know? He answers it, right? Because you rejects it. You reject what's being told to you. So you keep believing in Jesus Christ. That white Fabio. You keep believing it. When it described Yahuwah, not Yahusha, describe him too in the scriptures, but when it described Yahuwah, just like an emerald on his throne. What color is emeralds? We don't want to use our head. We just want to believe what Massa then told us. Because that's who I'm used to pleasing. Oh, somebody. You can get mad all you want to. Truth is being expounded here. Well, you can say it another way. You don't tell me what to say and how to say it. Say it your way. Because we're off the chain. You know what I'm saying? We're off the chain, and we have went about terrorizing the neighborhood. We're big and we're bad. You follow me? We're so big and we're bad. Come here, baby. Come here. Let me use it for an example. Y'all look at this here. She off the chain. You're not off it, baby. She off the chain. She going about terrorizing the neighborhood, doing everything she want to do, talking the way she want to talk. She just a menace. She tough-skinned, don't want nobody to tell her nothing, but then want to be talked to. Come on, baby, it's going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Come on, rubbing your back. Tough as this thing is. Iron sharpen this iron. You want to be iron? I'm going to be iron too, and I'm going to rub that flesh. Are y'all following me? She cannot be desiring for no one to be soft, because it ain't going to get her there. She will walk all over you. You hear me? She done killed up half the neighborhood. You hear me? And then what I supposed to do? Come on, little killer. Come on, little killer. Little killer. She done molested half the children. You got me? Just tough. All in the name of Christianity. And then what I supposed to say? Come on, little old sex criminal. It's going to be all right. Going to be all right. No, I'm going to deal with her. I'm going to deal with her. You hear me? Look how Yahuwah done dealt with us. We can't see that. Look how he done dealt with us. Through our forefathers disobeying him. Man, we've been drugged through hell. Hell. Does anybody hear me what I'm saying? And then you want me to deal with you. Love. Just love them, Christianity. Yeah, love cover a multitude of sin. Yahuwah loved us enough to whip our tail. I say whip, he didn't beat us. And the Father said, when you beat them for something, they ain't gonna die. You're talking about physical with them dealing with your children then. And then you got these little soft Christians that have bought into Christianity. White Christianity at that. Why they go about slaving, raping, doing everything, but now tell you to love. Love. And they don't love nothing but a dog. Don't love no human. And money. You see what you done bought into Yehudi. You see what you done bought into. But you ain't going to see it. Why? Because you are stiff-necked. You stiff-necked. Tired of playing games. Let me finish reading. Verse 9, right? It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that I shall seek to destroy all nations and that come against Jerusalem. See, now he's dealing with it. The end times now. You got me what I'm saying? Because the nations are going to be destroyed. Why? Because they're going to come against Jerusalem again. When we are quietly in our land, they're going to come against us again. When Yahusha told them that that on the even on the Day of Tabernacles, the Feast of Booths, all nations got to come before me, along with Yahuwah, with Yehudi, along with the Yahudim, along with Yasharel, the nations of them that's left from the destruction that Yahuwah going to do. You're going to have to come and worship me. You will no longer worship Jesus Christ, your lie. He said, you're going to have to come and worship me. And if you don't come, you shall be destroyed alone, just like I destroyed the rest of your brothers, the rest of the nation. They don't believe that. They think Yahuwah, this little old flapjack that you can flip on any side you want to flip. Christianity hadn't taught the truth about him. Yes, he loved you, man. He loved you. But Yahuwah, if you don't do what he say, because he's the only one that know the way, a clean way, a Kadash way. And if he has given you that way and how he requires for you to live before him, and if you don't live like that before him, he going to destroy you. Why? Is it because he's mean? No, it's not because he's mean. It's because he is Kadash, means that he's holy, and he can't have no darkness, sin before him. He's too clean. He's too pure. Is anybody hearing me? I'm telling you, this is what's happening here, that the Christians hadn't been taught. Been taught that he'll put up with your junk and he just going to just look over it because he's so nice. He's just going to look over me. Keep sinning. Keep believing that. You hadn't been told the truth. You hadn't been told the truth. I keep getting off of this because I still want to talk about this 2/3. Verse 10. And I will pour upon the house of David. Now remember that he was dealing with David's house well, let me just keep reading. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit or the ruach of grace and compassion. This just proved one of my points, and don't nobody even know what it proved. Now he's saying, I'm going to pour upon them the ruach of compassion. What does that tell you? Because there wasn't no compassion at first, like y'all Christians want to put him. Now it's coming a day where I'm going to pour upon you my compassion, because I ain't had it. I allowed you to be drugged. I allowed you to be drugged. But that was still through a form of love. But he did it also in his anger. He did this to us, what we're doing now, or what we're experiencing in the past and now, because he was angry with us. Somebody don't believe that. Because every time you read these scriptures, you're reading them through the eyes of Christianity, so it's impossible for you to see this kind of stuff. And they shall look upon me because they have mocked me. And they shall make lamentation for him, as for a beloved friend. And they shall grieve intensely, as for a firstborn. Verse 11, in that day, the lamentation of Jerusalem shall be very great, as the mourning for the pomegranate grove cut down in the plain. Now he done switched back again. You feel me? He done switched back now, I believe, to around 70 AD. Because Zechariah prophesied this before 70 AD. Now, he had to. You got me? See, now he done switched back again. In that day, that lamentation in Jerusalem shall be very great. People are going to be moaning, crying. Why? Because of what's happening. The nations that come in, they even pulled Solomon's temple up. They burned it down and then even pulled up the foundation stones. Now, you know them foundation stones had to go through probably 50 feet in the ground to hold a structure like that. Them heathens pulled up even the foundation stone, and Jeremiah talks about that Yahuwah is going to show enough bring destruction up on the nation, because it wasn't enough that you burned down the temple, but you had to go and dig up the foundation stones. Tell us about that in Jeremiah. These Christians don't read no Bible. They just read it, oh, how he loves us. Oh, how he loves us. Why? I'm telling you. It says, and the land shall lament in separate families. Because that's who was there at this time. Look at this right here now. Look at this right here. In separate families. Of the house of David by himself, the family of the house of David by himself, and their wives by themselves. The family of the house of Nathan by himself, by itself, and their wives by themselves. In other words, these people were just like this. Then my wife is over there, and I'm going through so bad, I'm just grieving by myself, and my wife over there grieving by herself. What happened? You know what I mean? Because I'm Terrific stuff is happening in Jerusalem now. Some terrific stuff. It says the house of David by himself and their wives by themselves. The family of the house of Nathan by themselves and their wives by themselves. The family of the house of Levi by itself and their wives by themselves. And the family of Simeon by itself and their wives by themselves. All the families that are left, each family by itself and their wives by itself. I didn't see Benjamin because this dealing with Yehuda. This dealing with Judah. I see Levi. Now I'm taking it, Nathan was a Yehudi. You got me? Now I see Simeon. So maybe it was Judah, Simeon, and Levi instead of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. I don't know. I don't know. But maybe it was still some of the 10 that were there. That's not my point today. And it says, and all the families that are left, each family by itself and their wives by themselves. Now let's go into chapter 13. Chapter 13. It says, in that day, every place shall be open to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for removal and for separation. In what day? Because you understand when they came in 70 AD and done what they did. Now, there's a lot of people, they're going into captivity now to Babylon. There's a lot of them going to be separated and be given for a righteousness, just like Daniel them. And then it could even be talking about that when Hamashiach came. Now it's open for separation. Now it's open for forgiveness of sin. For you, Judah. Judah should have known better. It could mean two different things. But I don't believe, again, and we're going to get down to this here because this is going to really set the foundation for the 2/3, or set the context for the 2/3, okay? I don't know. Like I said, I could be wrong. It says, and it shall come to pass, in verse 2, in that day, says YAHUAH of hosts, that I will utterly destroy the names of the idols from off the land, and there shall be no longer any remembrance of them. And I will cut off the false prophets and the evil spirits from the land. You see what's happening here? Do we see what's happening here? He ain't talking about, see, our land is desolate right now. Ain't nothing on it. So he ain't talking about this leading up to the 2/3 not making it. He's talking about doing that siege. Everything, because you got to understand, Judah started worshiping idols. Judah started making their own carvings, their own images, just like the Rome, just like the Catholics, with all these idols everywhere, but you can't tell them nothing either. YAHUAH says, coming today, I'm finna root up all this. That day then came and passed. But now we have these idols in our heart. Because a lot of us black Christians, melanated Christians, we don't want to give up nothing. We don't want to give up anything. Read Deuteronomy 28, how he said we were going to become. We're going to begin to serve their gods. We're going to begin to serve their gods in the land of our captivity. Where are you? Come on, where are you, Yehuda? What? Land of captivity? Who is the God of the lands in your captivity? Who is that God? What's his name? Who they call him? God and Jesus Christ. Why can't we get that? But in our land, he called YAHUAH Yahusha. I say he called YAHUAH Yahusha because he is not to even be compared with God and Jesus Christ. So we're serving a total different entity than the creator in the lands of our captivity. But first I got to make these folks believe that they're in the land of their captivity. They don't even believe that. This is home for me. It's not my home. It's not my home. This is Babylon. had to convince them that this ain't your home because you was born here. It's not your home. You still have Yahuwah got to do something to convince old stiff-necked Judah. To be honest with you, Gentiles are waking up faster than us. And they are hopping on board. They realize what's going to happen to their people, their destruction, and they're repenting. Some of them not so truly. But I get more Gentile, I get more of the strangers wanting to be my friend on Facebook concerning Yahuwah, Yahusha, than our black brother and sister. We ain't hungry yet. Why? Because we're waiting on Trump to give us some money. You know, we got now he's supposed to give out $5,000. $5,000 ain't gonna get me away from here. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go home. Give me my gold, give me my silver, give me my wealth, just like Yahuwah said that I was gonna leave out of here with. Give me that. Come on, some $5,000. That's just a bribery. That's just, they've already given you as little as they possibly, and you think that they love you because they gave you a darn nickel trying to sell your birthright and all that. Man, come on. Wake up. Wake up. Well, and some of us have become so just like the nation that we're in. Well, I don't think Trump need to do that because it only causes inflation. I don't care about this nation going into inflation. This is not my home. We got to see the mindsets that we have to lose and what we got to wake up to. The scriptures already pronounced this nation's doom. What do I care if it giving out all this money and going to go inflation? It's going to go deeper than that. It's going to go deeper than that when they really give us our share. You read about it in Genesis 11, I think. He told Abraham, your people, your seed going to be here for 400 years. And when they leave, when I get them, they're going to leave with great wealth, silver and gold. And you talking about some $5,000. And most of us think it's just little, well, I want it. Well, I don't want that because they're going to crunch the nation into more inflation. Are y'all following me? You send that $5,000 check, I'm going to take it, but I'm going to be waiting on about 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 more, 10 billion more. Because that's what you owe. That's what you owe. Somebody ain't even hearing me. And our little old mind itself ain't used to but having but a dime and think $5,000 is some great big money. I don't get us. We'll become just like this nation. A lot of us, melanated folk. Well, I don't think he needs to do that because it's just going to cause the nation to go in more and more inflation. I think I'll refuse it. I ain't. Are y'all going to refuse it? Y'all going to refuse it? Y'all going to refuse that money? If Trump sends $5,000, y'all going to refuse it, Ethan? You going to refuse it? That's how y'all think. Huh? You know why? No, I'm not coming out on, because many people think like this, because they think this nation going to last forever when Yahuwah told you I'm destroying it. He says the only thing going to be here is the jackals. Because we think like the world. You understand me? They ain't even got no business even taking no income tax. What? Why is it when I pay for my house and I still got to pay them taxes? This is Lucifer's system. This is God's real system, and we are thinking just like it. I ain't resisting nothing because they owe me so much more. See, white America, we think like white America. I promise you that. A lot of white America is deceived because they have served Jesus. Now, do you see that we have to awaken more? There's so much more things we have to awaken into than just his name and who we are. Stuff is rooted down in us. I don't give a damn about this nation going down and talking about some inflation. Why? Because it's not my home. And it's not yours either, Yahudi. Now see that Christian, he cursing. When the scripture says, when we do right, all are going to be damned. We don't know nothing but what white American evangelical Christian have taught us. We don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. You think I care about this nation going into inflation? I've told you, I've worked in the housing industry. I've told you, I've worked in the housing industry. I've sat and I've taken credit applications and sent them in. And I told you, that black man running a 750 credit rating, that white man running a 750 credit rating, and then when that house and all that paperwork is done, that bank then gave that black man that got the same thing than that white man a higher interest rate. And you think I give a damn about this? You've been cheated ever since you've been born. When are people going to wake up? Wake up, Yehudi. Wake up, Yahudim. Wake up and stop thinking. Well, the Father prophesied it in Deuteronomy 28 that we were going to be this way. We were going to be this way. Can't anybody know inflation? You know why? Because I'm fixing it just a little while time. We finna go to the land of milk and honey. We just gonna skip around. I mean, it's gonna be good for us. I just told you, I just read this to you. We're gonna be just like the house of Yahuwah. And if y'all are planning on going with us for real, I'm seriously, stop thinking that way. Stop thinking that way. If the stranger are planning on going with us, because that's a lot of us, don't give a crap about y'all. And they think that y'all are not going. They think that the Yahuwah hadn't given you a place. That's a lot of our people think that way. I don't think that way because I know the scriptures. I know he have made a way for y'all. I know he have. But you got to get this thinking out of us. You got to get this Babylonian thinking out of you. You got to get it out of you. Shoot, man. And you know what I say? I think anyway, it ain't nothing but a lot of sufficing going on. I think anyway, they're talking about giving you $5,000 because they know they finna dethrone and tear up and throw away this dollar anyway. It ain't gonna be worth nothing. The Great Reset is going on. You got to get a better world view of what's happening around you. Are you understanding me? Showed it? Yeah. A couple of days you did that. Went to the bank and they said they ain't even got they got very little cash here. Very little cash in the bank. I told my old banker the other day, I said, boy, y'all, it's just a matter. I ain't even gonna tell y'all what I told him. Somebody might know my banker. But it ain't good. We won't wake up to nothing. We still think like this Babylonian system. This place is not your home, Yehudi. This place is not your home. I don't care if the taxes go sky high, that we ain't got no business paying. That's a repayment for this, for what they have done and what they are doing. Do America continue to think that they can do what they have done and there will be no consequence to the children of Yahuwah? You've waged wars from one continent to another. Huh? You have brought countries down to keep them poor so that you can be rich. Do you think that there is no consequence to what you have done? My trust is not here. I'm serious. If I had the means, Denise, to leave here, I'd be gone yesterday. Go buy a ticket. I just said if I had the means. She thinks I got the means. But I'm serious. I'm telling you, man. This is a rotten place. Well, you didn't live high on the hog and this and that. Well, it's my nature to try to live as high as I can because Yahuwah really do want me blessed. But you have still kept me from so much. I'll stop talking about the white man that kept you from this and that. You just don't want to face it. There is systemic racism. And it's so up the ladder and so covert, you can't even see it. It's just like all them black Republicans, Tim Scott, all of them, rallying for Trump. Rallying for Trump to get the presidency. And what the other cat name? And y'all don't know, can't think of their name. He chose his cabinet, and it ain't but one Yehudi in it. And guess what he over? What you call it? Yeah, the urban housing HUD, what they had Ben Carson over. And now all of them sitting back quiet and yeah, see, we are so easily to deceive. I'm telling you, man. But you know what? That's the way it's supposed to be. How can you say that's the way it's supposed to be? Because you're in the land of your captivity for punishment. But you've been studying trying to fit in. You've been studying, been trying to become the first son when you ain't even a son. That's what we've been busy trying to be. And then you get white folk get mad at what I be saying. And when they do, and if they do, I know that their heart ain't really with us either. Because you know that these things are the truth. How could you deny what happened to Yahuwah all these years? How could you deny that? You know why they can? Because a lot of them really don't even know what happened. See, look here. I'm going to tell it to you just like this right here. Your great-great-granddaddy stole all this money, built this big mansion, which is your house. Free labor, back labor. Got me? Okay. Bought him a house. Now, 3-4 generations then passed. You don't really understand a whole lot of it, but you still living in that house. You didn't enjoy that privilege. It was never your house. My ancestors back built it. My ancestors back labor for it. But you don't never know it. You think it's all yours, which ain't none of it was yours. You got me? You see, the wealth that we're going to leave out of this country with, it's because we have earned it. And they withheld it. They kept it. They kept it back. Just because you living in a house, it don't belong to you. But you think it do because great-great-granddaddy signed it over to his son. Now your great-granddaddy, which they've been signed over to, signed it over to his son. Now, which is the granddaddy, your granddaddy. Now granddaddy then signed it over to his son, which is your daddy. Now your daddy then signed it over to you, but you're unwilling to look to see where it came from or how it come about. Are y'all following me now? See, that's what's going on in South Africa. Them jokers been over there since 1600 and something, and they think they own that land. But now the government then rose up in South Africa. You never owned this land. You came here and you stole it. You killed our people. You raped, you pillaged, and it ain't but 13% of you that makes up 7% that makes up the population of South Africa. 7% of them Dutchmen makes up the 7% of the population, and on 72 on 72% of the land of South Africa. Now, you think that right? Now, they saying it's their land. No, you know, but you don't want to acknowledge how you came about that land. And it was illegal. You stole it. And so now since you didn't had it for 4, 5, 6 generations, you think it's yours. It's not yours. It's not yours. Are y'all following me now? This is what has happened. In any nation, not only America, that done that, how in the world can you think that you will not be repaid for what you have done? You will be repaid. You have to suffer the consequences. Because Yahuwah is just. He will leave no sin unpunished. No sin. He didn't leave us unpunished, did he? So how you figure he's going to leave you, America? How you figure he's going to leave you unpunished? And you're still doing it to us. You're still doing it to us with no fear. I need to get back on this 2/3 stuff. Boy, I get caught up. I just get caught up. Thank you, Ty. Ty said, but you be preaching, though. Think about it. Yahuwah is bringing, see, in the end, ain't nothing going to, what we got to understand, this is Mary, in the end, ain't nothing going to dwell there but righteousness. And how are you ever going to have righteousness if you don't remove the unrighteous? We don't think. How are you ever going to have justice if you don't remove the unjust? They will not be left to still practice their behaviors. So if there's going to be righteousness throughout eternity, don't that tell you that Yahuwah going to deal with all the unrighteousness? We don't get it because we don't want to get it. Not all, but most, especially white America. They don't want to get it. I said not all, but most. They don't want to get it. You want to continue with these, but I don't have much. You done had some privileges. You've had some privileges. I don't know why we don't get it. Man, that's an evil that's been working that many of the Yahudim refused it. Well, I don't know if we refuse it. We don't want to see it. Well, we refuse to see it. We don't want it because we never had an identity like I said. So we need to be identified with something. My heart yearns for Yahuwah and the promised land that we've been promised. I can't wait. I ask him, Father, come get us. A lot of people think this is water world, meaning that Kevin Carlson said, it's not a myth. I've seen it, the land. You know what that would depict? They show you all the time, you know, because they were just surrounded by water, the whole civilization set up on water. And Kevin Carlson said, it's not a myth. I've seen it. Remind you of what Martin Luther King said. I've seen the promised land. That a lot of Baptist preachers try to talk like and preach like. I've seen the promised land. I might not get there with you. Wasn't this land? It ain't this land. It ain't this land. If you, listen, I don't care if you are a Yehudi or you are a stranger. If you're preparing to stay here, you're going down. So what do I care about some inflation? When he tells me that my land is filled with milk and honey. What do I care about some inflation? When he says your land is a land of rivers and valleys and mountains and water and we don't think right. That's when you got a lot of Yahudim don't want to leave here Because they think this is the promised land. Darn fools can't even tell Babylon from the promised land. Don't you read in the Revelation that Babylon have deceived everybody, have offered up? She got a lot of goods and purple and diamonds and stones, and she also had the blood of the prophets in them. Meaning she done killed and murdered. And all the merchants want to cry when she get destroyed in one day. Hey, now. You remember the meeting with Zelensky and Trump them that day? Did y'all see it? It got heated, didn't it? I'll tell you one thing y'all probably missed. Trump got mad. You can see that that joker got red. You know, Zelensky told him, you know, that you got great ocean, you got big, lovely ocean, like we. You know what I'm saying? He said, but you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. Trump said, we ain't going to feel nothing. He letting them know, you finna get bombed and destroyed, man. You talking about us, you finna get bombed and destroyed. They know. They know. A lot of this nation's leaders, they ain't mine. They have already sold you out. They know what's coming. They know what's coming. That's the reason a lot, not all, some are genuine. That's the reason a lot of the strangers are getting on this boat with us now. They didn't want to be on that boat when we were coming over. But they want to be on that cruise ship going out of here because they know what's fixing to happen. This nation will not stand. So why would I give a damn about what happened to it? And I tell you why I believe that Yahuwah said he's going to open the graves of our people. You remember what Joseph said when they were finna go out of Egypt? He said, don't forget, dig up my bones and bring them with you because he know he'll be dead. We can't put nothing together. We don't take nothing serious. We just constantly learning but never coming unto the knowledge of the truth. Joseph said, don't leave my bones here. So that which is being shall be again, that's new under the sun. So that's when he's going to have to open our grave, which a Christian called rapture. He's talking about the Yahudim. He's talking about us. Huh? He's not going to leave our bones here in this wicked place. This wicked place. The Christian then taught you, build a land. They talking about heaven. You ain't going to no heaven. There ain't no heaven made for you. No heaven made for you. Read the end of the book. New Jerusalem is coming down, and then the Father is going to come down and be the light in that city. He's trying to come to earth with his children. When Yahusha said, I go away, and I'm going to prepare a place for you, and when I come, I'm going to receive you as my own, what you think he's preparing? New Jerusalem. And it's coming down. It's going to come down to us. And ain't nothing that defiles going to enter it. You got 12 gates. But guess what? The church then took the 12 tribes. They are spiritual Israel, so they say. If they are spiritual Israel, then why don't them 12 gates say the church? Go down to side 3, the church, Baptist, Lutheran, this and that. Now it names the 12 tribes of Israel. Even they got 12 foundations that named after the 12 apostles, the 12 children of Israel. You follow me? Everything is still about us. I told a person that one time, everything is about his children now. No, everything is about Jesus. I said, okay. You followed the wrong. You followed a deity. You followed an idol. That's what you followed. They got him hang up on a cross, which is pagan, too, Mary, right? Which is pagan. With their little lily white body. Little scratch right here. Little scratch right here. See what they putting up before you, right? Hair blowing, crown blowing, right? when our book says he was marred more than any man. You can even recognize, and he hung on a tree. I really do believe, a lot of our people think that he was hung, on a street, rope and stuff like that. But I think that they refer that tree to a stake. A stake. That's a piece of wood too, hung like this. That's how he still got the holes in his hand. Hung like this and still like this. The cross is pagan. Crossing to Mars, to Moose, however you want to pronounce it. Our people don't even know that, especially our Christian folk. Can't nobody teach you nothing. And the reason why we can't teach you nothing is because you're stiff-necked. You're stiff-necked. So some of our people are going to be left here. Let me try it one more time. But verse 2 says, and it shall come to pass in that day, says the Lord of hosts, that I will utterly destroy the names of the idols from off the land, and there shall be no longer any remembrance of them. I will cut off the false prophets and the evil spirits from the land, because this is what they was doing. They had them false prophets that day. The false prophets is what helped to get them off, because one of the prophets was prophesying other than Jeremiah. The false prophet was saying that you're not going to be here no 70 years and all that, when Jeremiah said that you're going in captivity for 7 years. So this false prophet started prophesying this other crap and trying to make it easy for you. So they persist in their evilness because they thought it wasn't going to be bad for them. This is what he did. This is what he was talking about false prophets. He's going to cut them off too, because a lot of our prophets that we run after, they are false. And if they ain't false, how come they ain't awakened yet? He said that I'm going to show the prophet. I ain't going to keep nothing from my prophets. And these famous prophets that we go to on Facebook, on YouTube, and probably even send them money to try to get a word and this and that, why are they still saying God and Jesus? Think about it. Yeah. Old fake Juanita Bynum them. People like that. If they are true prophets, and he said that I ain't going to hold nothing from my prophets, I'm going to show them first. Why they ain't awakened? Because they false. You got them in the Yahudim, and you got them among strangers. Oh, swagger them out there. You feeling me? Why are they not seeing this? Because all these jokers is about money, money, money. And I talked to you about that last week, what all that is about. Money, money, money. But you cannot wake up our people for nothing, because they stiff-necked. They see all of this here stuff, but they are convenient. They going back on when they first got saved. Well, Jesus Christ saved me, and all this happened in the name of Jesus Christ. The devil can also hold you into some, and the Most High, the Creator, really could know your heart is really after Him, and because you are a child of His, you are of the tribe of Judah anyway, and He will still move for you. But there's a day coming when He's shaking you to awaken you to who He really is, because Hosea, I think it's Hosea 6 and 2, huh? Well, that too, but Hosea 6, I think it's Hosea 6. Around verse 4 or something, he tells us that, the day is coming where you will no more call me Baal. Because right now we're calling him Baal, God. You see. He said that day is coming when you will no more call me that, but you will call me Yashi, meaning salvation. Because salvation is in Yahusha's name. Yahusha, meaning salvation. Ain't no salvation in no Jesus name. No salvation is in Jesus' name. When some of y'all sophisticated black Yahudim folk that think y'all smart and stuff begin to research this stuff and stop going off Anglo-Saxon, evangelical, white Christian America doctrine. Well, y'all do that because you think you're smart and think you're more than anybody. So do that. But now you're looking like you're the dumbest. Because you claim yourself to be the smartest, the most intelligent, and all this kind of stuff, but yet you still stuck. And you got poor black folk coming out knowing more than them. Boy, they mad now, Julie. They mad. Yeah, they are. I'm talking to my own folk. They mad. But you have to ask me, do I care about that if I'm telling you the truth and you refuse to move? But you know so much until you really don't know the thing that you need to know. And I am sick and I'm tired of it. I really am. I'm sick and I'm tired of it because y'all parade yourselves in these institutions every Sunday morning. You're not keeping the Sabbath. You're convinced that Sunday is the Sabbath when Sunday ain't even the seventh day of the week. It's the first day. Look at your old pagan Gregorian calendar. Even it says that on that. Sunday is the first day of the week. And then you believe these Bibles that Yahusha that YAHUAH finished his work on the sixth day, like it says in Genesis 2, verses 2 or somewhere along that. He did not, and you know he didn't finish his work on no seventh day. He finished his work on the sixth day and rested on the seventh. Exactly. So if you want to call, and it is pagan Friday, he finished his work on that Friday, which is a pagan name, Friday, at sundown. And then he rested on that so-called Saturday, which is today, which that's the seventh day, but which that name is pagan, because our people didn't even name the months. They just said month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So now we got names of the months and name of the days, and y'all all right with that. Yeah, you can't be helped but to be all right with it, because ignorance is bliss. Thank you. It's bliss. And that's what's happening. You all right with that. And you won't even think of questioning that. And then you think you're smart. Oh yeah, I'm going in like Rob and Exit. I'm going in today. And you think you smart. You think you more intelligent. Come on now. Come on, Yahudim. Wake up. You've been sold a lie. You've been sold a lie. And if you don't wake up, you can miss it. Because ain't no rapture coming for you. This is what they're looking for. They're looking for this white Jesus. They're looking for this white Jesus to appear in the cloud and to come down, hair blowing in the wind. Say again? On a unicorn. Of course. I might as well to believe that Popeye the Sailor Man was a real person. Popeye the Sailor Man. The crap we believe. Maybe I got to get better at it, Sister Lily. But I can't stand willful ignorance. I can't stand it. Willful ignorance. But at the same time, it is that. Why? Because our Father did tell us. He testified it. Even before Moses did. Even before Moshe did. He testified that we were stiff-necked. We were stiff-necked. Man, when I found out the truth, Mary, I was mad. I was mad. Some of us know the truth, and there are things that we can do in the truth. It don't matter that you're in the land of your captivity. There are still some things. Pork ain't the only meat in the land of our captivity. And some of us still eat it because we don't care. We're really not close to Yahusha enough to take him seriously at that. Pork ain't the only meat here. All of it is poison now because these Amalek people trying to kill you and all that kind of stuff. So it's really by the grace of Yahuwah that you're still alive and still making you clean, because you got to eat something. Even the vegetables ain't clean no more, and they talking about going just on a vegetable diet. So if you just go on a vegetable diet, you ain't eat nothing but plastic is your diet, because that's what it is today. But we don't even believe that. You get them vegetables and you just wash them. You got to wash the vegetables and this and that, and you don't even believe that it's plastic that's in these grocery stores. If you want to grow your own food, then you're going to have to grow it, get you a piece of land and grow it yourself. And even in that, you're going to have to put some kind of cover over it, because they're spraying. They're trying to kill you any way they can. Look, me and my wife, my camera kept going off last night. And we determined what it was. The camera kept going off last night. So in the cameras, you could see all this stuff flying. You know what I mean? And you might call it some pollen, and you can call it whatever you want to. It ain't no pollen. But when you go outside, you don't see. But the cameras are so sensitive, so they picking up, Sister Lily. They picking up the chemtrail coming down to earth now that was sprayed 2 days ago. That's what they picking up. I mean, everywhere. Look like snow, don't it, Bob? But when you go out there, you see nothing. In the physical, you see nothing. I got an old raccoon out there I'm trying to kill, but I can't catch that joker for nothing, so I'm going to blow him up. 2 of them. Raccoon, really. But anyway, and but the camera just, blah, 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 blah. And we looking at it. I said, what is that coming down? And what did you say it was? You said you thought it was the chimney or whatever, but I don't know. And then I said, no, because it's coming from the back. It's like the wind blowing it from the back of the property coming. And so I go out there and look, nothing. But the cameras are so sensitive, it's picking up that white substance, because that's what it was, white, something like snow. Ain't nothing but them done chemtrails. That stuff coming down. The camera seems like it's kind of magnifying and making it look like it's bigger problem. But when you go out there and you don't see it. Huh? Yeah, exactly. And so this is what they're doing. But we still won't give up pork. And we could do that. And you go watch some films on what pork consists of. We ate it for years. Listen to me. I didn't even get off high blood pressure medicine until I started keeping it safe. I no longer have to take it because I left the pork alone. So Yahuwah knew what he was telling us when he was giving us a diet. And we still want the catfish. When he said that fish ain't got scales on it, that means it ain't clean. And a catfish is a scavenger. It eats the dead things on the bottom of the river. It eats dead other fish. But we'll eat it up. Sure do. But now, I'm just talking about the pork, but ain't none of the meat is good for us because what they adding to it. You know what I mean? Because they're adding to it. But we won't even try to give up that. Why? We're stiff-necked. And we ain't disciplined like we need to be. I'm telling you. I threw that stuff out my house. And I no longer have to suffer with high blood pressure, Ty. Yeah, I got a big old bottle of high blood pressure pills in my medicine cabinet stuff that I no longer have to take no more. By getting off of that crap that Yahusha told me to get off. Don't you know in the Queen Isabella and Fernandez them and all them people over there, they made our people eat pork because they knew that Yahuwah told us that it was unclean and we wouldn't eat it. And they said either eat it or we're going to kill you right there. They made us do it. So you see, these heathen was very defiant of our scriptures. They know our scriptures are holy. Our bodies cannot take that. Our bodies are not made for that. There are very few white folk that is on that has high blood pressure compared to us. You know what I mean? And they eat the pork, but never have to suffer for that. He knew how he was making us. Yahuwah did. And we just eat it up. We eat it up. And I no longer have to take it. Since I started keeping Shabbat, since I started not only keeping Shabbat, but keeping his laws, his statutes, and his commandments, when it come down to dietary laws. Because shoot, man, I couldn't wait to put a slab of ribs on the grill and wrap it a little bit after it get done, just a little bit, wrap it in foil. So, you know, I didn't want it. I didn't want it so where you can. I didn't like my ribs where you can pull the bone out. You know what I mean? I didn't like it that tender, Ty. You know why? A lot of people like it that tender. I didn't like mine that tender. You know, I like mine because I got all 32 of my teeth, no cavities, and I want to bite too. I did. So, biting that swine. Fry that catfish up and just eat it until you just, grease dripping from your head. It ain't good for us. It's not good for our people. You hear me? And some of us are still doing it. Shrimp? What you talking about, child? What you talking about, child? I'm telling you, shrimp, crab cake, we ain't supposed to eat no shellfish. No shellfish. Yeah, you remember that movie, The Titan? Yeah, you're killing me, Peter, you're killing me. I'm telling you, man. And we can't even back off of it for our health. I'm telling you, man, my body went through a drastic change when I got off all that crap. Processed food and all that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, ain't none of it any good anymore. None of it any good anymore. Even that deli meat that you think so healthy at Foodway, slop. All you got to do is go online and see how they make it. It's slop. And we thinking we eating healthy. You better start caring about your health, and then Yahusha will step in. Listen, we can't hardly evade it now. We can't hardly evade it now. You know what I mean? But if we would try and put forth the effort and pray over everything, I believe, when I pray over my food, I believe that Yahusha take the poison out of it. But you ain't going to get no big ham and say, oh, Father, bless. He ain't blessing that pig when he told you to leave it alone. He ain't blessing that unclean animal. You can pray fire down from heaven, and he ain't blessing nothing for you. He is not going to baruch that because he already gave you his commandment toward that. But we think we okay. Oh, bless this big rib I'm finna eat, Father. This big old juicy ham that I'm finna eat because Thanksgiving coming. Bless this ham. Man, get away from here with that foolishness. You're making yourself look like a fool. I'm telling you, when are we going to discipline ourselves? Or you want to stay rebellious? You just want to stay rebellious. I ain't coming to your funeral because you knew better. When that big hog kill you, they eat slop. They eat you if somebody dump in there. They eat everything. A hog will eat a human. Are y'all hearing me? Chickens, even chickens are nasty. But chicken is a cross between I think it was a guinea fowl in Africa and some other bird. A chicken is. Father, help us with the chicken. You know. But that's a cross between that. But it ain't in the scripture about don't eat no chicken. I'm just telling you that. I ain't telling you that because that's what I eat. But it ain't in there. You know. But it is talking about the swine. It is talking about any fish with scales on it. I mean, that don't have scales, like catfish. And boy, the South, that southern fried catfish, it's killing you. I don't care if it is farm raised. The Father say, don't eat it. He said, don't eat it. Boy, I would eat a whole rabbit by myself, but it's unclean. It's unclean. The rabbit is. Ain't that something? The Father put his children on a specific diet, And boy, my baby girl didn't like no rabbit. Bob didn't like no rabbit, and it was all right with me. Oh yeah, she finally started, and I hated it. I really now, because I used to eat it all, Yasmin. I don't care if y'all don't like it. You hear me? I don't care. But man, that gravy, that rabbit, you can let it boil a little while and got it tender. But I like mine fried, you know. What you talking about? But it's unclean. When I found that out, Denise, as much as I love rabbit, I used to have them guys hunt them when they hunt them, bring them to me, and I would pay for them and stuff. When I found that out, I never bought or ate another rabbit. I wish I could, Nathan, because them things were good. But, huh? Them what? Why do I do that? It's just down in me and Ethan. Why I call you again, Nathan? I'm sorry, man. It's Ethan. He just looked like a Nathan for some reason, but he's Ethan. I know he is. Mm-hmm. I don't be meaning no harm. Let me tell you something, and I ain't just talking no just to be heard or trying to appease your flesh and all that, and I want y'all to know that. But that's a good fellow there. Humble fellow. I mean that, Ethan. You can see that on you. Now, you might take a notion and come and cut somebody's throat tomorrow. I don't know, but you don't look to be that. I'm telling you, I've talked with him before. Yeah. Humble, nice spirit. And a lot of the strangers are like that. If it wasn't for a lot of the strangers, sometimes we couldn't have made it in. I ain't talking about them devilish ones, though. I ain't talking about them. They're awful. They are. But I'm telling you, start watching your diets. This is why so many of us have diabetes, because we won't eat right like the Father told us to have. This is why so many of us are overweight. You know, of course, you're used to seeing me now, you know, for a while now. But if anybody could remember, I was way bigger than this. I was way bigger. But when I started eating right, Denise, the pounds began to just come off. I mean, I was weighing something like 232 before I started, you know. I always tried to be a little healthy and exercise, but I was weighing something like 232, 237, close to 240. My waistline was around 39, 40. I'm telling you, that's the way it was. Now, so now, you know, down to like 35, 36, I weigh around 212, 215 now. If we obey the Father's will and stop being stiff-necked, stop being stubborn. I can hear some of us. I eat what I want to eat. You don't tell me. It ain't doing nothing to me. You don't feel it now, but you don't feel it. But you never feel it, but it's started creeping up on you because it's not instant. If that man knew he was going to get cancer from smoking cigarettes, he never would have did it. And he didn't feel the cancer from smoking them cigarettes. He didn't feel the cancer coming. You got me? But he woke up one morning, the doctor diagnosed him with cancer. You see. Diagnosed him with cancer. I'm going to try to finish this. Because I've noticed that even when I get finished and try to get finished, y'all don't leave. Y'all don't leave and go nowhere. So let me just get down to where I want to get to. It says, and I will cut off the false prophets and the evil ruachs from the land, and it shall come to pass, if a man will yet prophesy, that his father and his mother which gave birth to him shall say to him, thou shalt not live. Why the father and the mother doing this right here now? Huh? Because these false prophets, they got them in trouble. They made it easier for them to worship idols and stuff because they said pretty much it was all right with Yahuwah and this here and that. You remember when Solomon told you in his backslidden state, he told the young men to do all what was in their heart. Why? Because he was doing all what was in his heart. He wasn't righteous no more. He did all what is in your heart. But that joker was still wise and smart enough to know and to never forget. He said, but know this now. Oh, you can just live like you want to live. You can do what you want to do. My Father, you can just live it up. But no, judgment day coming. He was smart enough to tell them that. But he telling them to live the way you want to live. Have fun. Go at it. Go at it. Are y'all following me? And then that's what his mother and his father saying. It shall come to pass, if a man will prophesy, that his father and his mother which gave birth to him shall say to him, thou shalt not live, for thou hast spoken lies in the name of Yahuwah. And his father and his mother who gave birth shall bind him as he is prophesying. Come a time where our folk ought to wake up to the crap. Our folk ought to wake up to the false prophecies, and just because somebody is speaking to some house and some land to you, it's time for you to wake up to this stuff, because it has only got us in trouble and held us in our chaos. Are y'all following me? But the father and the mother is waking up. And look what verse 4 says. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the prophet shall be ashamed, every one of his visions, when he prophesies, and they shall clothe themselves with a garment of hair, because they have lied. I guess they dressed in a certain way when they were true. But now, since you know you ain't true, ain't nobody going for your crap no more, you're going to clothe yourself in what you are worthy to be clothed in, because you're a liar. You're a liar. But anyway, I don't know quite what that means. But verse 5 says this right here. And one shall say, I ain't no prophet. Because stuff is happening to him now. Because Yahuwah is dealing with the prophets, or the so-called prophet, the false prophet. He going to go out and say, I ain't no prophet, for I'm a tiller of the ground. I'm a farmer. The truth is coming out of him now. For a man brought me up thus from my youth. Or he's lying because he's about to be stoned. So he tells me, I ain't no prophet. I ain't never been there. I'm a farmer. Yeah, he exposed, so he lied. Ain't nobody brought you to be no farmer. You've been lying to Yahuwah's people for gain, like what a lot of them do now. So ain't nothing new under the sun. And then he said in verse 6, and I shall say to him, what are these wounds in thine hands then? And now look at here. And let me finish reading that. And he shall say, those with which I was wounded in my beloved house. Now here comes some dumb Christian thinking this is a Mashiach, because it's talking about wounds and hands. But in the Hebrew culture and all that kind of stuff, you could get wounds in your arm, they'll refer to the hand. You know, my hand. So, but what this right here, because he was a false prophet. You remember the false prophets of Baal? Because they see the evidence that he was a false prophet. But you remember the false prophets of Baal? Heal, Baal, heal. Cutting themselves. What are these wounds in your hand? Because that's what you've been offering blood to your God, Baal, which means God. You hear me? But he got to lie about that. He said, oh, I was at my friend's house and they cut me. Joker trying to keep his life now, because it says that his mother and his daddy should take him out and then he don't live and kill him. So now are those with which I was wounded in my beloved house. My friends, people that love me, I got wounded there. When you done offered yourself up to Baal, cutting yourself. This is where your wounds come from. Is anybody following me? That's where it's come from. Come on now. And then he says in verse 7. Verse 7 says, awake, O sword, against my shepherds. Why? Why is Yahuwah calling for it? Now, let me tell you what these old fake Bibles that the Amalek and rewrote, and show you what it says. Because I'm reading out the Septuagint, the version right here. Now, the Septuagint says, awake, O sword, against my shepherd. My shepherd. Like it's trying to talk about Hamashiach, which the world called Jesus Christ, JC. You got me? So it's trying to delude you. But it's actually talking about all them leaders of Israel that is shepherds and leading his people. They done messed up. That's where he said, awake, my O sword, against my shepherds. Not against my shepherd, against the man who is my citizen. All the shepherds that is of our people, the sword is fixing to come out after you back then. This leading up to the siege Because they have, this is why the siege of 70 AD took place, because everybody was in disobedience. Why? Because the shepherds was lying. The prophets was lying. That's what it's leading up to. Listen what it says. Listen what it says. It says, saith Yahuwah Almighty, smite the shepherds, not the shepherd. Because they want to make this about Christianity. Ain't about no darn Christianity here. Ain't about that. And draw out the sheep, and I will bring my hand upon the little ones. See, Yahuwah being forced to bring his hands upon the little ones because the leaders done them wrong. The leaders done led them astray. The leaders done led them to worship idols. The leader, you remember Mount Carmel with Elijah? Elijah had to deal with Israel then. He said, if Yahuwah be the creator, serve him. But if Baal be the creator, then you serve him. And then Yahuwah said, bring me some water, just do all this, just drench it down and sacrifice. I'm going to prove to you today who Yahuwah is and not Baal. Baal is not the allure. Baal is Baal. And then he told the false prophet, kill your bull, kill your sacrifice, and you call upon your Baal. And we'll see who's going to answer. And them jokers got up on the altar and they had to sacrifice and build up. Oh, Baal, just slicing they said. Oh, Baal, hear us. Hear us, giving him blood. You got me? And Elijah began to mock him. Oh, he might be asleep. He might be drunk or something. Do we hear you? Elijah just mocked him. He mocked him. And they just couldn't accept him. 450 of them. 450 of them. Are y'all following? Nothing ever happened. All Israel standing out there looking now. With their disobedient self, these false prophets under Jezebel and King Ahaz at the time. Ahaz was dead, but Queen Jezebel now got him. But here it is, the showdown is going on Mount Carmel. And then Elijah told him, now it's his time. Hey, take that sacrifice, go get buckets of water, drench it down, dig a ditch, fill the ditch with water. And if the Most High come down and consume this sacrifice with fire, this water ain't even going to be a test for him. So, but just drench it down anyway, because I'm going to prove to you who Yahuwah is. These Christians need some proof, Denise. These Christians, Yahudim, need some proof. And Yahuwah and Elijah got on there and called up on Yahuwah. Fire came down, consumed the sacrifice, consumed the water, consumed everything that was about. Wasn't nothing left but ashes. Fire came down. You know, Yahuwah did say, I'm a consuming fire. Baal couldn't say that. They had to light Baal fire and then put the children on Moloch. They had to make them fire. But the fire came down from Yahuwah because he said, I'm a consuming fire. So all Israel returned back to Yahuwah that day. Only to mess up again. Boy, we ain't stable for nothing. Why? Because we believe everything we hear and we want to be like the other nations. We believe every darn thing we hear. We won't take lessons from the true shepherds, the true prophets. We don't want to hear them. We want to poke down our mouth what we want to poke down our mouth. We want to do what we want to do. We want to go where we want to go. We want to profane the Sabbath still. Are y'all following me? I know we're in the land of our captivity, but it ain't no law that got you eating pork. Ain't no law that got you profaning the Sabbath in that way. I already explained that about the jobs and all that kind of stuff. Can't help that. In some instances, you can help it. You can go and get you another one, but that'll be at your choosing. But you know what responsibility you got to take around your house to keep your house running. So I ain't going to tell you, well, Mary, you can't work on Saturday. I ain't finna tell you that because I ain't got no money to pay your bill. You got to pay your own bill. So I ain't finna tell you, Mary, you can't work on Saturday. No, we in the land of our captivity. If them employers is calling her to work and if she don't work, they're going to fire her, then Mary got to make that choice. I can't make that choice for her, and I can't put pressure upon her to tell her to leave anyway. I tell her if I could carry her and pay her extras, you know what I'm saying, Lily? But I know I can't, so what am I going to put you in that predicament for? Some of our teachers still is not teaching right in that area there. You're in the land of your captivity, so you can't obey every law and commandment. You can make efforts to, because you're in the land of your captivity. Our land got different laws than the lands of our captivity. Are y'all following me? Got different laws. And guess what I have to do in the land of my captivity? I got to go in there. I got to build a house. I got to take a wife so my seed won't diminish and seek the peace of that city. Y'all following me? Seek the peace of it. And that's just what Yahuwah told Israel when they were going into Babylon. Seek the peace of that city. Go in there and build your houses. Marry your wives so that your seed will not diminish so you can keep numbering. You know. That's what he told them. And it's been amazing. It don't make no difference how many of us they have killed. We just keep growing. That's Yahuwah's doing. We just keep growing. They've been trying to stamp us out in every which way they can think of. They've been trying to stamp us out through the jabs. You hear me? They've been trying to stamp us out through mating with us, stamping our blackness out. They've been trying to stamp us out by slaying the babies and all that kind of stuff. But we just keep growing. We keep growing. You know why? Because we're potent. We are potent people. We are potent. Our men can make some babies, and our women can shoot them. Our women can receive that seed and shoot because we are potent. We're just potent people. I'm almost done, y'all. I really ain't almost done, but I'm going to finish this here, this chapter right here, though. Which verse am I at? Okay, verse 8. It says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahuwah, 2 parts thereof shall be cut off and perish, and the third shall be left therein. Now, does that sound like it's talking about the last days, or it's talking about the siege that was coming up on Judah, upon Judah during 70 AD? You judge. It didn't took me so long. Y'all probably got disinterested now. But that's what it's talking about. I feel that's what it's talking about. And 2/3 shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part, and a third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire. And I will try them as silver is tried. And I will prove them as gold is proved. They shall call upon my name, and I will hear them, and say, this is my people, and they I keep losing my place. This thing keep messing me up. Hold on. This is my people, and they shall say, Yahuwah is my Eluah. This is not talking about the last days. It's going to be somewhat similar. Go ahead, Ty. I'm reading Zechariah 13 and verse 8 now, out of the Septuagint. But I laid all that other foundation to let you know this ain't talking about Jacob's trouble, as we have been taught in the last days. Jacob been in trouble all along. And even the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD was a troublesome time. And a lot of our folk was killed. You hear me? You don't believe that either, do you? Because he even told Edom, during that siege, when these nations was coming up against Jerusalem, you can read about that even in, I think, in Ezekiel 38, Isaiah, different places like that, because he even told Edom, a lot of my people that escaped, you being their brother, a lot of my people that escaped, you still caught them and let those other nations still kill them. He was getting on Edom, and he was getting on other, and I'm going to deal with that next week probably. I'll find you these other nations that he was talking about. I think Obadiah talks about it, or Psalms 83 talks about it. You know, when during that siege, it was a lot of Yahudim was killed. About 2/3 of them. Are y'all following me now? This ain't talking about no future gathering. It's talking about during the siege of 70 AD. About 2/3 of them was destroyed. Father, help us. That little pretty thing. About 2/3 of them. But now look, and the other third going into Babylon, right? I'm going to purge them right there. And that's not what that says. That's not what that says. Look at what it says. It says, verse 9, and I will bring the third part through the fire, and I will try them as silver is tried. All that happened in Babylon. And I will prove them as gold is proved. They shall call upon my name, and I will hear them and say, this is my people. And they shall say, Yahuwah is my Lord. It already happened. Shadrach, Meshach, them, they wouldn't back down. And it tells us in some of the other books, when they began to realize and the Babylonians began to oppress them, they started calling up on the name of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah went and got them. He didn't get them until when he said he was going to get them. You're going to be here for 70 years. When these false prophets were telling them they ain't going to be there no 70 years. They were going up against Jeremiah. This is when Jeremiah was prophesying. You see, no. Now, I could be wrong again, but I just don't see it. And next week, I'll bring out some more scriptures to you, okay? But we're going to have to stop saying until we get a full understanding that during the gathering, 2/3 of us ain't going to make it. I don't see it that way. 2/3 of us is not going to make it. But do it make sense? Really? Yeah, and look at here. Look at here. Now, we're in the lands of our captivity, right? This is spiritual Babylon. You know, anywhere where our people are, know that it's Babylon. But Babylon still have a seat now. And America is that seat. But the other nations that our people are in captivity to, they are heads of Babylon. You know, limbs of Babylon. You got me? Now, we're all over the world, right? Do you know how many it would be to take from us during the gathering? This regathering is about to take place in soon. Do you know how many of us it would be 2/3? If 2/3 of us wouldn't make it now? He was talking about coming up against Jerusalem. Jerusalem, your false prophet, this and that. Then he said 2/3 of you ain't going to make it. That city, Jerusalem. He ain't talking about, we all over the world now, and you're going to tell me 2/3 ain't going to make it. Do you know how many bodies that will be? How many bodies there will be? Come on, scholars. Put to work on this and look at this again, okay? And next week we'll come from some other scriptures. We can go all the way down into chapter 14, which you don't really have to, but you can look at Romans 11. You can look at Jeremiah 4, Jeremiah 5:18, Jeremiah 30:11, Jeremiah 46:28. You can even go back into, you can look at Zechariah 14, where we are today. And there's other things. So we'll finish this next week, okay? All right, let's stand to our feet. Denise, if you don't mind, you can come dismiss us.